Anyway, so our next speaker has a blog called Free to Pursue, and she went on an awesome trip to Africa. I've seen the pictures already. They're incredible. And she is here to tell you all about it. Give it up.
Thanks, Eric. Okay, who here has been on an awe-inspiring trip? Yes, good. Okay, so I'm here to give you some tips and strategies on how to survive an African safari, but really what I'm trying to do is fuel that deep desire to go on these trips. So why did I go on an African safari in August? My great friend Michelle had this as her last bucket list item. So of course I went, hell yes, I'll go with you. We went to 4 South African countries. We were supposed to go to only 3. We ended up going to 4 in 12 days. More on that later. What did we go to see? Well, you had to say the standard, the big 5. Okay, so those are the animals. I'm adding giraffes in there because that's my favorite. But that's really what we said to people that we went to Africa to see. But the other big 5 I want to talk about is the price. Okay, so 5 digits, people. It takes $10,000 or so to go on a trip like that. But have no fear. We all know that everybody in this room would save in advance to do this. And what does that mean? $9 a day. Yep, the latte factor. Or $271 a month for 3 years. I had 3 years notice as far as prepping for that trip. If you want to go cheaper, you can, but I would say cut wisely because you don't want to bring a story like that home. I'm just saying. Okay, getting ready though, 2 very important pieces. If you do not have the proper inoculations when you go to a third world country, or you do not have enough room in your passport, you may be turned away from a country that you're trying to go and visit. People take this lightly and they shouldn't. The other thing they take lightly is how much you can actually bring. There are very strict size and weight restrictions on your luggage. Be sure you know what it is that you want to bring. My most prized possession was that camera. 3 themes for this kind of a trip. Indoor plumbing is not to be taken for granted, even at the airport. So just take that into consideration. The second thing is, it is freaking cold in Africa at 6 in the morning. Wind chill is a factor, and I am Canadian, so that tells you how cold it was. The other thing is to go with the flow. I told you 4 countries as opposed to 3. We were told with 20 minutes notice that we were going to have to go through 3 customs borders, 2 countries, to go to a different airport to get back home. You have to go with the flow. The last thing is, you're going to the other side of the world. Try something new, for heaven's sakes. Don't go back home with regrets. Try new foods, try new activities. The payoff was absolutely huge. We saw over 200 elephants. We weren't even at the first lodge yet. We saw over 1,000 different, actually a couple thousand different animals. We saw 60 different varieties. All these pictures were taken with that Canon, by the way. Not a fancy camera. It's really amazing. After the first 3 days, we were there for 12. I said, I've had enough. Anything over that is gravy. So the payoff for this kind of a trip is amazing. We did not see the big 5. Because of poaching, rhinos were not in the 3 parks that we went and visited. But you can imagine, was I disappointed that I didn't see the big 5? Hell no. This was pretty awesome. So let me leave you with 5 final tips. Number 1, make sure that you travel with the right travel buddy. Michelle's a friend of mine I've traveled with 4 times. I knew we were going to have a good time. It could be hellish otherwise. Number 2, power and connectivity does not happen in remote and third world countries. Relax. You're not going to have it all the time. As well, you need less than you think you do. The less you bring, the happier you will be. Travel time is huge. 30 hours to get there, 40 hours to go back home. Make sure you have a good amount of time in between to have a really good time. And finally, the number 1 beauty tip. Leave your stinking grooming stuff at home. It's about the adventure, not about how pretty you look, okay? The animals don't care. So after these 20 slides, I hope that you've been inspired, that you know what is next for you, that you're going to do it, and that you're going to jump in with both feet. Thank you for listening.